And now, from the Sunnybrook Ballroom in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, it's the Bring 'em Out podcast with your hosts, Joel Richardson and Alan Hill.
Who am I as a human being? All right, so we'll just riff and roll like we usually
Riff and roll for 30.
You got to do that. Just point at me and I'm done.
It's a shame the barrels of cum aren't still behind you from the first episode, remember?
Oh, right, yeah.
That's how we started the clean comic.
The
You wanted
cum
to clean out.
barrel. You know what it is? You know what? I'll talk to the clean of it. I have something to say about that.
Yeah.
Are we recording? Or?
All right.
Yeah, we're recording.
We're recording already?
Yes, but this won't go on.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it should. I think it's
Well, then we
wonderful.
can. Yeah, we'll put it on. Whatever you want, Jake.
Yes, please. I want every word I say to be recorded and put out for
all of
posterity.
time.
That's right. I want aliens to find this and try to reconstruct humanity based on this podcast.
Quite a picture.
It's like they spoke a lot about comeback.
We don't even need an intro.
Now,
Right, really? Yeah. All right, here we go. I'll throw it out there anyway. Hey, everybody. We're here at the Sunnybrook Ballroom inside the podcast studio with another episode of Bring 'em Out. I'm Alan Hill, here with Soul Joel himself, Joel Richardson, and the return of the awesome, the cool, the super best ever, and third-time appearance,
3 times,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. And I just got to say, it's
Mr.
so
J.
nice.
Black. I didn't say his name.
It's so nice to be on the set of a casting room porno.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
It's official.
Yeah,
You passed the audition.
Yeah, you got to set up a chair over there and just be like, so why do you want to get into the industry?
What are you looking to get out of this?
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna take some pictures and we'll send them out and see. I got to tell you how this works. We're only a step. We got the black couch. We got the room that's up in the middle of nowhere. You got to walk through Christmas decorations to get there.
Yeah.
Far away from anybody else in the facility.
Yeah.
Happy, why are we here?
Right. Well, I want to start by saying that right before we started, you were talking about you were working with a mutual friend, Julian McCullough,
Yeah.
who I've known going back to 2000, like 22 years, 23 years.
Wow.
When he was the resident, the house MC at
Stress Factory.
The Stress Factory.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did.
I didn't know if you were going to say that, but yeah.
Am I allowed to say that?
I don't care.
I don't feel like
You're
all right.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I didn't know like if we were competing with them.
No.
Yeah.
Joel doesn't give us credit.
Joel has like a weird 400-mile radius rule. Like,
No,
I'm sorry, you can't work New York, Boston.
Yeah,
DC.
pinky rings up, fellas. I even posted you with from Uncle Vinny's. Like, I don't
Oh
care.
yeah,
Doesn't matter.
And you know what? I have found that the club owners who are the most secure in their business are the ones like that.
Yeah.
I'm going out to work with Brad Garrett at his comedy club in Vegas, and
Not so secure?
No, very, very secure. He pulled me aside. He was like, "Hey, we used to have a rule where it had to be a month before you could work other clubs in Vegas, but like post-COVID, just do whatever you want." And I was
That's
like,
really cool.
It's amazing. So that, like, especially as we were coming out of COVID, really helped with like routing.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't want to fly out to Vegas twice if you don't have to.
Right.
Like in the course of 6 weeks, you could like just double it up, and it was
Choices were limited
and,
still.
and you know that like his club was successful because he wasn't going like, hey, you worked Reno 8 months ago, so you can't work here in Vegas.
Right.
Where guys like Bob, who used to run the Comedy Stop, he was like that. Like you had to sign a contract, you wouldn't work within 100 miles.
Yeah. And Comedy Stop it did.
Yeah. It Comedy stopped hard. It Comedy stopped on a dime. So anyway, our mutual friend Julian was talking about how you had done a clean show together, and they were like, you should have gotten Jay Black for this because he's a clean comic. And just at that moment, apparently, I sent you the blowjob clip that went viral the last time I was
I
here.
was like, it's always good to hear from Jay. Oh,
Yeah. It's like squeaky clean. Well, I mean, I don't think so. And I have a theory about this because there's 2 things that people remember about me. One, they always think I'm shorter than I am. They always go like,
Yes.
"Did you grow? I don't remember you looking this tall."
Yeah.
And I think it's either like I'm an optical illusion because I have like a long torso and short legs. So I'm I'm like Cinderella's castle.
Yeah.
Like it's like forced perspective. I look bigger than I am.
Otter.
Or my soul is small. So emotionally, you're like, oh, that guy's a little weasel. And then you see me and I'm this big hulking oaf, right?
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. And the other thing is people always remember me as being clean. Like, I have gotten off stage after talking about hand jobs and blow jobs for no less than 35 minutes and had old women come up and go, you know what I like about you? You're just clean. You're a clean act. And I'm like, ma'am, I talked about hand jobs for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And I've always said I have whatever the like alpha male, like I intimidate people. I have the opposite of that.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that like no baby's ever been afraid of me.
Right.
Like I walk in and the baby's like, that guy's no threat whatsoever. Like if I was on a subway at 3:00 in the morning and you were like a woman with your baby, you'd be like, could you hold my baby for just a second to me?
Yeah.
Because like obviously no threat. So I think people remember me as a small, clean-cut person
Right.
when I'm actually an oafish, you know, oafish. What did I say?
Oafish.
A shellfish. Yeah.
You're not a shellfish.
I'm a big, glowering, goofy-looking monster person who talks about cum a lot, but nobody remembers that. So that's my
More
theory.
than most.
Yeah.
Barrels.
Yeah, in fact, people would just come up and go, hey, did that guy talk about cum for like 4 hours?
Is it because you were a former teacher, you think?
No, you know, I think it's just, people talk about white privilege. It's like all of white privilege is in this. Because you look at me and you think, oh, well, that guy, obviously that guy would be fun to go to a beach with. You know,
clearly.
I've got the vibe of someone
Yeah.
who is not going to hurt you.
Yeah, wrap it up, we're going to happy hour.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, and you know what? I'll drive with him because there's no way he'll pull off into a secluded area like the one we're currently in and murder me.
Right. He's not going to want to race for pink slips
Right.
on the Delaware
Right.
Forest.
And so here's the thing: I'm not a serial killer, but if I were, I would be a very successful serial killer.
You
Right?
have the perfect camouflage.
Right? Because like, remember that scene in Silence of the Lambs where he's like trying to get help with like moving his furniture,
Yeah.
and that's how he got his victims.
Help me get my couch in the bed.
Right, and it's like, oh well, I'll help you, mister. I wouldn't even have to do that. I would just have to pull it. You want to ride?
Mm-hmm,
And
totally.
then put him in my well house.
Off to the races.
Yeah. But so I think that's
That
what it
being
is.
said,
Anyhow,
nevertheless,
we're here with not serial killer Jay Black.
Jay Black.
This, by the way, is the pitch for the Clean Comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is that how you started writing movies? Because you just think like that, but have the.
Yeah.
This is how you get the pitch meeting.
So I'll tell you, the Lifetime movies. One of the things that's interesting about writing thrillers and horror movies is that joke writing is the exact same thing. It's just that joke writing, you provide delight at the end rather than murder. But it's the same idea. You're walking people through, and you make a left-hand turn at the last second.
Right.
So your setup is, hey, you know, why the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Oh, I didn't see that coming. It's the same. Why the chicken cross the road? You stab the person. You know, and that's what Lifetime movies or just any kind of thriller is like making a left turn and creating horror rather than comedy. But the two are very related from a conceptual point of view.
That's so cool. That's really cool. I never thought about that before.
Yeah,
That makes perfect sense.
And I think that's why it was so easy for me. But the thing about like me not being intimidating at all, I do think that has been my secret to my success.
Yeah.
Is that people will always remember me more fondly than I am as an actual human being.
so
Yeah.
awesome.
It's like, I like that guy. And it's like, I don't see why. So I think it's just that sort of mild-mannered. I don't know what it is.
There's something in your personality. It's just there's something about Jay Black that just says,
I
don't
absolutely.
talk about cum all day, even though
Yeah.
I do.
Well, I know you've been now on social media a lot more.
Yes.
Posting about it, so I don't know if it's because I notice it now on your social media because you've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
But you'll have like this gig off to a movie set
Right.
for like
Love it.
2 to 3 weeks or a month.
Yeah,
Right.
so
So there's like chunks missing. Be like, sorry.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I can't be talking about cum. I'm going to be on a stage. I'm going to be on a set.
Talking about murder.
Yeah. Well, making murders look real. Just listening to myself, I wouldn't want to spend time with this. This is gross.
It's quite a life.
Why are you watching this?
Yeah.
This is your problem, not mine. It's like, have you ever been
listening to audiobooks of yourself in the car?
Did you do that?
No, but I'm thinking like you're doing that. You're like, why do I do this? I hate my voice.
Oh no! So
or your thoughts or whatever it is.
It's when I'm with my wife. I look down on her for being with me. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
I'm like, what?
She could do better.
Yeah. What did you? What screwed up in your life that this is what you chose? And she'll say like, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I try to make that joke work in my act, and it doesn't quite work because I say that my biggest fear is that my daughter will be as dumb as my wife and marry someone like me. You know what I mean? Like my daughter will be like, this guy seems pretty nice, and I'll be there going, you know. And the second I say as dumb as my wife, the audience shuts down. They're like, how dare you? And I'm like, look at what she married.
Well, also this is conflicting with the fact that they overwhelmingly love you, no matter what you say about yourself.
Yeah, and they walk away like,
True.
very clean. He's very clean. Very clean. But yeah,
cum joke I ever heard.
well, you want to wipe up after. Yeah, so the fun of doing movies, it will never connect as much as the fun of being on stage. I've often said that making movies is cocaine, going on stage is crack, right? It's a much more direct, because like you write a movie, and it takes like months before anything's done, you know. And like I would get to set, and I kind of douchey because I go, that was a pretty good line. And I'll be like, but you wrote it, Jay. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't remember it. So now I heard it, and I'm like, pretty good. I really like that line. But like, it takes months and months and months before even people watch it.
Right.
Whereas on stage, you can think of something on the way over and talk about it on stage, and it's like that. That immediacy is always better, I think.
Question on that, because I get the immediacy of the comedy thing for sure. What is the timeline from movies that you've had success with and have gotten done?
Right.
From pen to paper to on air.
So, and mine move very quickly because
Okay.
these are a lot of times Hallmark movies or movies that go on Tubi or stuff like that. We're not talking about like theatrical releases.
Right. Okay.
But like I'll start writing. So, for instance, the one that I did with Steve Hofstetter, we discussed the plot in August. We were on set in December. So I wrote it in August. We casted it. We put together the production team and everything else. We got to set in December. We had sold it, and editing took a while on that, but we had sold it. It got on to screen. It sold in October.
Okay.
So it took about a year. A year. But it's sometimes it's just short of 6 months, and sometimes it's a little bit longer than that. But it's pretty quick compared to what
That's
you would
fascinating.
think.
Yeah, that's really fascinating.
But you got to remember too that like the difference between the movies that I make and the budget level of like a Marvel movie is time, because when you have more money, you have more time, and that's the main difference. I got to get through like 8 to 10 pages a day with the movies that we're doing, whereas a Marvel movie or something might shoot a quarter of a page in a single day, which is why their shoot times are like 6 months.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's really the thing. And if you're a movie star, like I work a lot of times, I'll hire soap actors for the people in my movies because they can memorize dialogue and just like chew through, and go through quickly. And like we shoot movies like middle relievers. We got to eat innings. We just got to go quick. We just got to make this happen. And we'll do like 7 to 10 pages a day, and the setups are just like super. You got 3 chances, go. And when you see like Robert De Niro in a big movie, and you're like, wow, he really got that. Like, they probably did 70 takes of that to get the exact right moment.
I'm sure you've heard the horror stories of working with Stanley Kubrick.
Right. Yes. Where he basically took Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman hostage for 19 months that they were there.
Oh, and what's the poor woman that played Olive Oil in the Popeye movie? That one but that was in The Shining.
Shelley Duvall.
Thank you.
Yes, where
she still has PTSD from doing
right.
That
movie. Oh, really?
Yeah. Because he broke her down emotionally, and it really does. And here's the thing, and it raises a question. It raises the same question that the movie Whiplash raised. Have you ever seen Whiplash?
This is one of my favorite topics. Please go.
So Whiplash, have you seen it? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So Whiplash, it's about a drummer who, he meets with a mentor, and the mentor is a dark mentor.
Yeah.
He's got his dad and he's got his mentor. And the mentor basically says, greatness and happiness can't coexist, right? You have to go into the depths. You have to cut off contact with people. You have to work all day, every day to achieve transcendent greatness. And his father's basically like, why don't we just like eat M&Ms and not worry about it? Like, wouldn't you be happier that way? And what Whiplash argues is that you can either be great or you can be happy. And I've talked about this in my own life. Like if you go to like a neurosurgeon and he's got a lot of pictures of him coaching his daughter's Little League team, walk away. You don't want that. You want the three times divorced, his kids have cut contact because, he's always working.
Yes.
Yeah.
When it's something important, like you're going to cut into my brain, right?
Yes.
An orthodontist, you can coach your kid's team. A neurosurgeon, I want your kids to hate you, right?
Yeah.
So I think we know that sort of instinctually, right? So the question with like a Kubrick is, would you trade the pain of seeing a movie, or being in a movie like that, where Shelley Duvall was absolutely decimated emotionally?
For real, no joke. Yep.
But she is a part of what is arguably the greatest horror movie ever made. A movie that will outlast her own life.
And by the way, it's
for
probably
100
her
years.
best performance by 1,000%.
100, and she was an Altman discovery, and she was more of a interesting face than a great actress. And Kubrick made her a great actress.
Exactly.
And I don't want to argue the great man idea that like you can be a jerk so long as you get results. But can you be a jerk if you get results? And my dad used to tell me, he would say, Jay, you know what the best part about being a man is? No one cares.
That's awesome.
If you are an alcoholic or bad to your family or a jerk, so long as you get results, no one cares.
That's right.
And he said, you know what the worst part about being a man is? No one cares. Your dad dies, your dog is sick. Did you hit the quarterly earnings? Nope, you're out.
Right.
So,
your own pal.
so I do wonder if there's
that's
like
a good point.
right, if there's like some toxic masculinity in there. But the Whiplash is an unanswered question. Kubrick is an unanswered question. Would you trade emotional pain for greatness?
Yeah.
And I feel like a younger version of me probably would.
It's a fascinating debate, and I have a real, it's funny, I have a real hot button thing with that movie because as a teacher, I have people coming in, I've been teaching private music lessons for my whole adult life now, since I was 23 years old. And I wanted to burn that movie to the ground. Because I have a kid right now who's at Berkeley. You've heard of Berkeley?
Yeah,
School,
oh yeah.
right?
It's
Berkeley School Music, best music school in the country other than Juilliard and Leicester.
Boston? Or
Juilliard if you're classical, Berkeley if you're jazz. And he is the nicest kid in the world, and he's incredible. Now, there's another way that this can happen, because you don't have to be an asshole to your students to produce greatness. They have to have the person has to have something that drives them relentlessly.
Right.
This kid did a Metallica song for his audition at Berkeley. That is it was in Cliff Burton days, and Cliff Burton is one of the greatest bass players ever. It is so hard. I don't think I could learn it.
Wow.
I'm really not sure. I don't think I could. I listened to him practice this thing, no joke, at least 1,000 times.
Wow.
And he did way more than that on his own. Way more.
Right. Oh, well, I'm sure. Yeah.
And that was just one song for the audition. That wasn't the process of getting there. You know what I mean? He has this thing in him that, and if I acted like the Whiplash teacher, I would have crushed him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, some people, my sister, responds to that shit.
Right. That brings the greatness out of them.
What a real great teacher is, and this is my problem with Whiplash, is they identify that in the individual.
Right. Right.
That's what real great
teachers. And I don't think Whiplash makes the argument that he's a great teacher.
No.
I think they make the argument that
it's one of the paths.
It's one of the paths.
Yeah.
And
that's fair.
But I do think that there is greatness requires sacrifice.
No doubt about that.
That if
100%.
you're a family man, you can't be both. You really can't. You can't be an astronaut and a dad.
Yeah, it's hard and not a good one.
Right. It's like where's Dad? Mars. I wish he could have came to the game, but he's on Mars.
He's in the space station until the next rotation of the sun.
And it's weird because like before I had a kid, I was like, yeah, of course you sacrifice everything to tell the greatest hand job joke ever written.
Oh, no.
But now that I have a kid, wait, I have 3. Holy crap!
We'll edit this in post.
Yeah, I have 3 kids. I know about them. But when you have a kid, greatness becomes redefined because like your child, like I wonder about that. Like, do the children of quote unquote great people, are they ever happy because
they feel pressure?
Well, no, I mean like if your father was the greatest novelist of all time, but you never saw them, you know what I mean, because he was always working or traveling.
Do you take emotional solace in his greatness?
Right. You go
or do you just feel the loss of the relationship?
Right. Is it always he's just my dad, and I really wish he would have played ball with me?
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, it's like, well, he wrote this book that everyone has read and been touched by. Would you sacrifice that greatness being in the world to have your dad play catch with you? I don't know. I mean, luckily, no one is great in my family, so we never have to worry about this.
With this table discussion, we are all fine.
Right.
we're all pretty darn good.
The mediocrity on this couch. You never have to worry.
Yeah.
We're happy with our stations.
I wanted to ask this just happened recently. I'm not going to say who it was, but probably falls in the same category as music as it does in comedy. The comic said, and he's only been performing for about 5 years, but said, I don't know if he was trying just to impress me. After the show, he goes, I've never bombed.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even debate it. I just let him talk. I go, no way, dude.
Right.
Yeah, and we talked about this earlier too. There's two types of people in comedy.
Right.
Empath and sociopath. And
I like that. That's a very
Pretty
good
good.
breakdown. Yeah.
and it's a fine line.
Yeah.
To see who is who.
Right.
Who is whom.
I'm trying to think right now. I hope I'm an empath.
I would
definitely-
I'm
I'm
definitely an empath.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
They were
yeah.
invited on this podcast.
Yeah.
They were invited
Okay, all right.
because the sociopath, we'd be more nervous about having them in this dark corner of this building.
Yeah.
But I mean, never bomb. It's like saying
That's
like
crazy.
you never had a bad gig playing
That-
music.
Oh, that's like me saying everybody in every bar I ever played in paid attention to every note I heard.
Right. Well,
Yeah. It's insane.
I don't know who this person is, but I can't imagine.
I hope you never meet him.
I can't imagine they're any good
No.
because, like, the guys who I know who are the best
Yeah.
do not have comic ears. They don't walk off going, "I just murdered."
Oh,
Yeah.
They're the guys that come off and you go, "Wow, you just murdered," and they go, "Oh, come on." No. Did you hear that third joke I told? It barely got a response. And you're like, you told 500 jokes and got a standing ovation.
Here's the best reason of why he's an empath. The first maybe 10 times I booked him, I was at another show before I opened up Soul Joel's. And he would go off and tell whoever was in charge, tell Joel I did good. Please tell.
That's the thing.
He signed the headshot. It's in the wall. Tell Joel I did okay.
When we did the podcast, you brought that in the first episode.
Yeah.
And then you did a show 3-4 months later.
Right.
In the freaking Gatsby, before Gatsby was
I remember,
that?
Yeah.
And he walked off stage. Now I was right up the front. He
Yeah.
walked off stage, came over to me, gave me a hug, and goes, "Did I do good?" And he walked over to you and did the same thing.
Right. Well, it's
So awesome.
And I keep trying to find the way to not care,
Yeah.
because it's weird because with the audience you don't really care so much. It's the people that because if you care too much about the audience you will disappoint them because you have to make them come to you. But what you want is the people that you respect, the guys who understand comedy, the guys who book comedy, to go like, hey, he did okay, he did a good job for me because you're paying me.
Yeah.
I hope. I mean,
To be determined.
right. So you want to have
the pod before the show.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than I will not name names. I just did a show at a place, and the person who had been there before had booked themselves there twice, back to back, pretty quickly.
Oh.
And they did the same set in a small town very soon after doing their first set there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so I show up.
I'm listening, but I'm also trying to figure it out.
I'll tell you after this.
Okay, I can't wait.
I don't want it to go out.
Wrap it up.
But I like how you went to like an invisible producer. Hey, we're cutting now. Okay. Oh wait, hold on, wait.
We're gonna break the four wall.
Yeah,
There's only 3.
Yeah. No, I'm being told we have to go. We have to continue. But so
That was also empathic.
Yeah. So I showed up and they were like, "We're so sorry. The town has a bad taste in its mouth about comedy because of this other person." And I'm driving home. Maybe this is very empathic because I was driving home imagining that I was the other person who booked himself twice in a row like that, and found out that he forever damaged comedy in a small town where like they think that comics are grifters who like we kind of are, but who booked himself too quickly and hurt comedy in that area.
I think I figured it out.
The impact that can make is amazing.
And I was thinking to myself, like the idea of my employer going, you shouldn't have done that. That was not a good move. Like, that's a stomach turning idea. And I do know that there are comics that wouldn't care. They would just be like, well, hey, you should have figured it out. And I kind of almost admire those guys because I wouldn't be able to sleep. Like, that would be all I could talk about for months is like, I destroyed comedy in a small town.
For real,
yeah.
for real. Man, well, the burdens that get lifted off the brain of a narcissist.
Right. Yeah. I would. You know, I keep asking therapists, am I a narcissist? Because people think I am.
No.
And they're like, no, you're not a narcissist. What you are is the center of your own universe.
There you go.
But it's a shitty universe. Like, you don't think it's a good
You don't deserve a good universe
right,
in
like
your own mind.
You're like the little prince on this little shitty planet going, I hope a comet hits. But that's not the same thing as being a narcissist.
You're the king of Poop Town.
Yeah, I am. I have a badge and a sash. I'm the president of Poop Town. That's how I want to be.
Yeah.
Next time I come, I want to be billed as Jay Black, the president of Poop Town.
Yeah. There's no re-election.
No.
Self-nominated.
No.
Self-acclaimed. Self-proclaimed.
Yep. Jay Black, president of Poop Town. We have a podcast title, ladies and gentlemen.
There it is. Ooh.
I like to have a blackboard there too, so when you can do goodwill stuff.
It's a vision board, as you can see.
It's completely empty. Like, I thought you put math problems up there in the hopes that one of your employees will solve them.
Yeah.
Be a goodwill hunting.
They're all solved.
DJ Bob that you met earlier,
Right, yeah.
he would solve all of them like that.
Right, he does a furious system.
DJ Bob has a physics degree from Penn.
And you know what? It says something about the world right now that he's DJ.
He's DJ Bob! He's DJ Bob! And he had to dumb down his DJ name for us because we didn't understand the equation that was his DJ name.
Really?
Yeah, DJ Delta T
Square,
something
like,
else.
Is there a square in
So
there
it's-
maybe?
So is it, okay, all right.
Enough said, right?
Yeah.
His not to get political, but his one of his classmates at Penn was Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real, no
Yeah,
joke.
so he's
Yeah.
on that level.
That's and you know what? I think DJ Bob made better decisions. No one's protesting DJ Bob's music.
No one's burning his cars.
Yeah.
To break the fourth wall yet again, Jay said, "Give me the ball and I'll run with it."
But you know, it just says something about what we value in a society that you can get a degree, understanding the very principles of how nature is built, and you're probably a much better chance of getting laid playing techno music after a comedy
Not
show.
even close. Not even close.
It's like, hey, I wasn't getting any when I was discovering new particles. But I played a Lady Gaga song mixed in with a Katy Perry song, Blowjob after the show. So I'm going to stick with the DJing, I got to be honest. I discovered how quarks bind. The women, their legs were still bound. I played a Sabrina Carpenter song at half pace. The whole world just spread open.
I've got to be honest, we've covered many more topics than I thought we would.
We've covered all.
Guys, we can listen.
We've covered all the topics.
I still can go. We have more, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
We should go right till showtime.
Can I
I
tell-
should continue this on stage. Let's go down.
Can I tell you that when I Googled you, I found out you have a 4-octave vocal range and that you died in 2021 because Jay and the Americans lead singer came up?
Yeah, and I'm so happy to be
I was
dead.
so
I'm
glad.
When
I was so glad you weren't.
Yeah, so there's 3 guys. There's the Jay Black, me, the comedian, the singer.
I thought you weren't even going to list yourself. So you have 3 choices, none of which live in South
Right,
Jersey.
and then Jay Black, the singer, who messed me up whenever I played in Atlantic City or Vegas, because people would call and go like, "Why is Jay Black singing at the Comedy Stop?" And that's probably why I closed down. People kept coming to you. I was like, "When's he gonna sing?" I was just telling a story about I was performing on a Tuesday night at the Comedy Stop in Atlantic City, and we used to call that the bus show, because that would be when all the old ladies who lost all their money, they would have to wait for the bus to leave to go back to wherever they were going. They were just killing time because they didn't have to. So it was just it was misery. It was just people who were killing time, did not want to see comedy, had lost all their money. So
defeated.
Tuesday nights were just terrible. And I remember I was getting close to the end of my set, and there's a woman in the front row, and I'm like, "What do you do for a living, ma'am?" And she says, "I'm an opera singer." And I find that to be hilarious, because I'm like, where do you work? 1840? You understand? It's a dead genre, right? Like, what are you doing? So I turn to her husband, and I go, "All right, well, what do you do to support her opera singing?" And he goes, "Well, I'm actually an opera singer too." And you want to talk about like feminism? I was like, "Well, now it's real."
Yeah.
So I apologize, feminist. I've gotten better as a person, but I'm like, oh my God, they're both opera singers, so they must be real opera singers to be able to do that. So I said, well, all right, well, I don't know anything about opera, but I do know that you guys can fill a room without, having a microphone. Mm-hmm. Would you? And I can't bring you up on stage for legal purposes, but there's 12 people here. Do you want to sing for them? And the guy goes, I would prefer not to. And I go, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. And in a moment of serendipity that has never been repeated in the history of my comedy career, the spotlight operator turns the spotlight on.
No.
The moment I say, I don't want to put you on the spot, ka-chunk, spotlight comes down on him.
Unbelievable.
The whole place erupts. I mean, these old women were very excited. And this guy stands up in his chair. And I had never heard opera live to this point. I'm sure you have as a musician.
I have.
It is soul shaking.
It's unbelievable.
I know it sounds like I'm overstating, but you didn't know the human body could do that or respond to it like that. I said it always feels like I'm Morgan Freeman in The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
When he turns the opera on, I don't know what that Italian lady was singing about, but it sounded like freedom. That's what it was. This guy shut me up with the beauty of his music. And
how do you recover from that?
I said goodnight.
You did?
I ended
Seriously?
the show. Here's what I said, and I mean this, and if you're watching this is why you need to come to Soul Joel's. Not only because he built something amazing out of the ashes of COVID and everything else. When everybody else shut down, he ran with the ball and made all of this happen. And there's a prom going on right now in this place. Not because he wanted one, but because my rider demands a prom has to be going on while I'm on stage. That's how big a deal it is. But this is why you come to Soul Joel's. And this is what I said. I said, you could have stayed home and watched Netflix. You could have watched Bill Burr, who is slightly funnier than me. But why do you come to live comedy? Because 10 years from now, you won't remember a single word I said, but you'll remember the moment that occurred when he stood up and created beauty and shut me up. So there's no point in doing any more comedy because you just got your moment. And that's why you come to a live show.
That's awesome.
Because you can't get a moment on TV.
That's so well said, man.
And I left 5 minutes early, and the MC was like, what's going on? I'm like, you can't.
He's still got a bib.
Yeah,
he's
eating lobster.
It was clam night. What are you doing?
And he runs up and he's like, why didn't you get off early? And I was like, because it's Tuesday night.
I couldn't follow the Phantom of the Opera.
Couldn't follow the Phantom of the Opera tour, ladies and gentlemen. But it's true. It's true. That's why you come to see live comedy, because you never know when a moment's going to occur. Like the blowjob moment that went viral for us.
Well,
that was so funny.
You were so nice to because right during the pandemic, man, you were still wanting to do the shows socially distanced outside.
Yeah.
We're in a parking lot. Man, it was loud engine after loud engine, and you just know where your career's at with Soul Joel, right? He opened up his own club, and now we're in a parking lot where just every car sounds like they don't have a muffler. I guess there's no shortage of Teslas in Austin. Because ironically, we were at 422 Complex, which now is like a half a mile away from here.
Right.
Even though because we were over in Royersford, which is like 10 minutes away, but we did an outside show. We teamed up, and was just so funny. And he would text me and go, just so you know, I'm in my car. I'm here. I'm just going not anywhere near anyone.
Yeah, I didn't want to get sick.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big fan. My biggest fear is dying. But specifically, because I had asthma growing, I still have asthma.
But you don't come across as a germaphobe.
No, not at all. But I will say, I still mask on airplanes now.
Okay.
But not because of COVID.
But those are like
I don't blame
things.
you.
Yeah.
Airplanes are cesspools.
Yeah, exactly. You're in a tube.
So I fly all the time.
They can recirculate the air all they want.
Yeah.
I would say 1 out of 3 flights I'd land and be sick, just before COVID, and So I just was like, I started wearing the mask because of COVID. I never got sick again. So everybody wear masks on a plane.
It's not rocket science.
It's simple. Like
you don't wearing masks in Japan for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And your surgeon wears a mask. Like if your surgeon was like, "What? You a pussy? You don't you want me to wear a mask? You'd be like, "Yes, I do. I would like you to wear a mask."
Next surgeon, please.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear people coughing in an airport. You're like, "Oh, here we go."
Right.
Yeah, it's good.
It's nothing worse than like having a kid cough near you because you know that they're regurgitating whatever they caught in kindergarten. Put on your mask, ladies and gentlemen. So, but yeah, I'm not a germaphobe. I just feel like taking moderate precaution to not get sick.
Yeah.
Just because you gotta be. Listen, I can't go on unless I'm at 60% at least. If I'm at 45%, that's a no-go.
Yeah.
And Joel, I'm not gonna lie, I'm at 68%. You're gonna get
not bad.
68% of me. I'm excited about this show though, because we have a guy that is doing a guest spot.
Yep.
I'm always excited to see young comics.
Yeah, Bill Miller.
Yep.
Took the comedy class twice, but has been a long-time supporter and fan, and he's done tireless work behind the scenes promoting.
Yeah.
And you said some nice things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's always nice. I always, my advice to any young comic, don't do this.
Or middle-aged man.
Yeah. While they're young, they're
in comedy.
Right. It's like they don't have a lot of miles on them yet.
Yeah.
But I always say don't do it. But if you're going to, I'll try to support you as much as possible. Because you never know who's going to get famous and make you a vanity producer on one of their gigs.
Do you know Jellyfish Jimmy?
I don't.
Open micer.
I want to.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm the bingo man of Pottstown. I'm doing everything here.
The bingo man of Pottstown. That is my next lifetime.
Have you not seen his bingo promos yet?
No.
Dude,
pretty fun.
Send him the last.
Oh yeah, please. Yeah.
So you know, like just like anything at work or at home, you have like a routine.
Right.
So I'm closing, and we're in the ballroom, but I'm going in the comedy room, make sure everything's turned off. Jellyfish Jimmy. He's 76 years old, not a joke.
Oh wow.
From Fishtown, Jellyfish Jimmy.
There we go. Yeah.
On stage, I go, Jimmy, what are you doing? He goes, I'm here for the open mic. I go, Jimmy, it's Thursday. He goes, yeah. I go, our open mic's Tuesday. He goes, no, Thursday. I go, Jimmy, I know what day it is. I go, but also, it's been Tuesday for 5 years.
Right. It's never been Thursday.
And I go, it's 9:30. He goes, I've been on stage for an hour and a half. Nothing else in the room except for chairs.
Right. Has he been doing comedy?
Yeah, he's been doing. I don't know how long, but he also told me he takes magic mushrooms.
There you go. Yeah.
And waits for them and times it perfectly so they kick in right when he gets here.
Oh, wow. And he
must punchline laugh. Am I right? I mean, this is wild.
Right.
Not what you want to hear as the owner.
Right. Yeah. That this guy, this insane person, has been coming.
Yeah.
And
but
all shroomed up and ready to go.
And it does. Did he do well that night in front of nobody?
He's a character, so I told that story then on the open mic night, and he was right there, and I kept referencing him. Later, he would email, which is even funnier.
Right.
And he goes, "Hey, did anybody tape our little skit?" We had a funny back and forth. I go, "That was me retelling the story."
Yeah, but I was part of the story, so
he wants a producer credit.
Yeah. I gotta tell you,
there's so many stories you could probably tell of just the maniacs you've met over the years. Not to name names like I did.
No, it's as I've always said, you don't get into comedy because you were hugged enough.
Yeah.
Nobody was ever like, wow, I had such a normal upbringing. Let me go make strangers try to love me for an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's most of the time though, it's like you spend all this effort trying to be likable on stage. The problem is that there are some people who that's the only time they're likable.
Right.
And then off stage, they just like a light switch turning off. They become just dark or And you're almost like you want to jump up when they're performing and go, he's not like this. You should know. He's not on mic. He's a not nice guy. And I think that, being as close to who you are off stage as you are on stage, I honestly think that makes for a good comic. You know what I mean? Like, infusing your set with, who you are as a human is important. But I don't know.
There's only like two comics that I ever met that are not the same.
Really?
Gilbert Godfrey, rest in peace.
Oh, right. Well,
I think he got tired of yelling.
Very soft-spoken guy.
Dice.
Yeah. So off stage, he's like just nice, quiet. Yeah.
I think personally.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Right. But then he's running bits. Like, do you know that Dice has this legendary collection of videotapes that he made himself? He used to basically just try and just direct weird shit all day long at the Comedy Store in the 90s and
Really?
2000s. And there are boxes, hours of videos of him going crazy at the Comedy Store trying to direct stuff in the we're in the kitchen. Bobby Lee's doing a dance over here. Joey Coco Diaz.
I'm surprised he hasn't turned that into like a documentary or something.
Me too.
Wow.
Me too. The legend is, and I've heard it from his mouth and Eleanor Kerrigan's, that it's true, that it exists.
By the way, Eleanor's great. I think she's a very good comedian. Yeah,
she is funny and awesome person.
I met her at a roast. I met her at the roast of Howard Eskin and Angela.
No way. No.
And she was just in town. And I was invited because I was on WIP a lot.
Yeah.
And she was like, hey, could I do a set? And they were like, do you know her? And I was like, I don't, but we should let her do a set. Like, she might be really good. And I just remember watching and going, holy shit, this girl's really good. She's a good act. Like, so every time her name comes up, I go like, opening for Dice for a number of years will make you into a
powerhouse.
Powerhouse.
Dude, you talk about empath. She can feel the crowd.
She's so good.
And she can pivot and turn on a dime.
And Dice's crowd now, Dice's crowd.
I'm here to see Dice.
Dice's crowd's getting older and a little more chill in their old age, right? But imagine going to see Dice in 2010 or 2005, and all these guys are still like trying to do cocaine.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they're like, I haven't had a heart attack yet. I'm going to keep going.
Right.
You know?
And here's this nice young woman,
and she walks out on stage, and some of the stuff, I'm not going to say the lines because I don't want to blow her stuff, but some of the stuff I've heard her say to guys within 2 minutes of walking on stage just to set the room is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Jaw dropping.
She's a great actor. You've had her through.
A bunch. She's been here a ton.
Dude, killer.
Is she still LA based? Or?
So I think she still has a place out there.
Right.
But she has a lot of family here, and she comes. Her parents are getting older, so I know she spends a lot of time here.
Yeah, she's a good act. Very good act.
She's her 17 brothers.
Yeah, her brother gave us an original Dice jacket.
Really?
Yeah, it's hanging down in the hallway by where your picture's hanging.
I want to try it on. Let's go.
Yeah.
Sure, it smells great.
That's where if we had any production skills, we would clip and then have you sitting there in the jacket.
Just use your imagination. It's a dying art. Use your imagination.
Yeah. Make a claymation stop film of the same concept.
Exactly. Yes. Go. Oh, yes, and then use it to masturbate.
Another episode of Bring 'Em Out. 3-time guest Jay Black. Follow him online and social media. We'll see you soon.
JBlack.tv.